Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads at xzoneradiotv.com.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earth woman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
The X-Zone Radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone Radio and TV show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X-Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, and the stations or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
I like dreaming, 'cause dreaming can make you mine. I like dreaming, closing my eyes and feeling fine. When the lights go down, I'm holding you so tight.
And welcome back to the X-Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. My email address is xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, Skype, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other social media networks, X-Zone Radio TV. It's that simple. And our main website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. X-Zone Nation, this hour, my guest is Todd Borandi, and we're going to be talking to Todd about his new book, Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires. Todd has a master's degree and professional development certification from Stanford University in strategic decision and risk management, giving him the knowledge and depth to extend his practice to those looking for ways to improve their business or organization's team dynamic. He enjoys working with entrepreneurs who are trying to set up new businesses or get themselves more time to what they are really feeling passionate about and pursuing. Now, a former zombie who progressed into a vampire before awakening to real life, Todd is the author of Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires, an inspirational guide for survival among the non-living. Todd is a certified life coach with a master's degree. He is also a motivational speaker who works with teens and entrepreneurs to help them uncover and pursue their true passions. Now, his book, Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires, is available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble, and his website is www.discoverabalance.com. Joining us from Colorado is Todd Borandi. And Todd, welcome to the X Zone.
Well, thanks for having me, Rob.
Vampires and zombies. What's the correlation between vampires, zombies, and entrepreneurs?
That's an interesting way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can probably bring up YouTube or any number of sources to find the answer to the zombie side of that. Just look at the folks that are so involved with their cell phones that they're walking into fountains or walking into each other.
Mm-hmm.
The zombie part of this is the part of society that's gotten themselves so wrapped up in technology and in the need for information that they can't complete whole sentences when they're involved in their phones and trying to text somebody and carry on a conversation at the dinner table. It's an interesting sight to see. The vampire side of that equation are those folks that are out there that you hear about this all the time, where somebody goes to work for a company and gives that company 15 years, and they're told that they're the life's blood of the organization, and then 2 years before they're supposed to retire, they're laid off, or there's a restructuring in the company. So the correlation that we're looking at between the zombies and the vampires and the entrepreneurs, some of the folks that I've worked with, they wake up, they start asking questions about why they're giving so much of their life to corporations that they can see are not going to give them anything in return, and they have questions and want to pursue different passions, and so they look to the folks that are around them and ask them to, does this make sense? Is this right? They start asking the right questions, but of course the questions that they're asking are usually to other zombies who don't want to
get out of
the boat.
All right, you and I have to take our news break, not our news break, our
right.
first commercial break, I should say. We'll be back in 2 minutes. We're talking about Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires. That's the name of Todd's book. His website is www.discoverabalance.com. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Todd Borandi and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break. Don't go away.
Till the morning light, I see us on the shore beneath the bright.
Nicholas P. Jennings is a lover of humanity and a seeker of truth. Using facts and not opinion, he exposes misconceptions spread by religious and political organizations. While theology, engineering, and science were his fields of academics, history, philosophy, and humanities are his fields of research. His article entitled "The Obama-Iran Nuclear Deal Must Be Stopped" exposes lies by Obama to approve a nuclear deal. This deal benefits Iran domestically and militarily, but compromises the security of the United States. The Jennings article is provided on the internet link www.rel-mar.com/NG1. That's www.rel-mar.com/NG1. Call him Reef. Reef is your host. Reef is your guide. Are you happy? Happiness is like trying to find water in the desert. Can you find any? Sometimes, sure, but only a few drops. God is an ocean of joy. But God is not cheap. You cannot find God in a chemical. You must attract God's attention. How? Not by living to please your senses. That is false ego. The Matrix is not real. It is a computer-enhanced hallucination. You are spirit soul, not the body. We have forgotten how splendid our home really is, the spiritual sky. For more information, visit rishasongofblue.com. That's www.reeshassongofblue.com.
Fartlets, fartlings, pongies, and honkers. They have so many names, makes you go bonkers. Rear tempest, butt bubbles, bottom burps, all aside. Why does it smell like a little rat died? Hail the fart, whenever, wherever, whoever. Its existence actually enriches our lives because it gives us those unforgettable moments that we can all recall again and again that are always good for yet another laugh. A new expose on farting. Get your copy of The Endearing Fart by Eileen Dover at www.theendearingfart.com.
Welcome back, everyone. Todd Borandi is my special guest. His website is www.discoverabalance.com. He's the author of Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires, and his book is available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. Todd, you and I were talking during the commercial break, and I fully understand what you mean about people just using their texting and walking into things, walking into fountains, not looking where they're going. What would people do if they just didn't have these electronic devices anymore? And as a motivational speaker and as someone who helps entrepreneurs and business people, do you find that all this texting and the use of electronic handheld mobile devices is actually taking away from the communication skills of people?
Well, absolutely. I think people, I have a teenage daughter, mm-hmm. and she tells me about her friends that break up with each other over text. They don't even have to look face to face or carry on a conversation. Everything's being conducted mm-hmm. through this text messaging process, and so we were talking as well. It's as if the social standards are changing. It's okay for people to bring their smartphones into your house if you invite somebody over for a meal. It seems to be okay for some people to come in and text like they have something that's more important that they do.
I find it very rude.
I do as well.
Yeah. My wife and I, we go out to restaurants, and we sit, we talk, we communicate, and we look around, and you've got a family, a mom and dad, and a couple of kids, and they're all texting. Like, what is wrong with society? When did we go from a society that communicates to a society that texts? And what about the language? LOL, LMA. and all these different acronyms that the kids have, and that the office people are using as well.
Right, and I think you make a good point, and something that is even more interesting than that is if you're out in a restaurant, something I've tried, and I haven't done any scientific studies on this, but I've gone out to the restaurant and waited until people were eating their meal or not in their cell phone, and I would pick up my phone for 20 seconds, and I would look around, and people would feel like they're missing something. There would be people at other tables picking up their phones. Did I get a text? Did I get, what is it? What information am I missing? It's amazing.
Yeah. In your book, you used zombies and vampires to describe our society. How can we get out of the coffin? How can we get life back into our life? How can we cast the zombie and vampire way of living away?
I think really the basis to that, or the basic steps to that, is identifying that we do have an addiction to information and to technology and to this mob mentality that has just become part of our society. And what we've forgotten to do is really spend time examining and looking at ourselves and asking ourselves those important questions. And so when I'm working with somebody and doing the coaching, it comes down to asking the right questions at the right time and letting people really determine what it is that they want to do and that they have a desire to do. I worked with one young lady who she graduated from college, and the day she graduated, we were talking, and she said, I'm miserable. And I said, well, why? You just graduated. You just got your degree.
Yeah.
And she said, I don't know what I'm going to do with the degree. I don't want to do anything associated with the degree that I got. And so that's another point where she went along with what she was told that she needed to do, rather than really thinking for herself. So our ability to disconnect from the technology and listen to ourselves is really important in that process.
But I'm sure you hear a lot of people say, in business, we need to have this instant communication. We need to have all this data at our disposal. How do you deal with that kind of thinking, where people actually think they need to be overloaded with information?
Well, and I think that's where the vampires do come in, because a lot of companies, you show up at the companies and they issue you a smartphone, and they know that if you have that smartphone, you're going to work more than 8 hours. They'll issue you a laptop because they know you'll take that laptop home and work at night. And the business need for that inundation of information and data has seeped over into our personal lives, and we carry that home. And so now we get ourselves wrapped up in different social media, and we have to stay constantly connected. We don't want to miss anything.
What are some of the questions, Todd, we should be asking ourselves about, are we a vampire? Are we a zombie? And what are the upsides and what are the downsides? So how do we rationalize this with ourselves?
Well, when I created the book, I actually had a lot of fun. I wanted to do something that I enjoyed. So if you go out to Amazon.com and you bring up the book, it has that look inside feature to it. And one of the things that you're able to see is I put in there a fact sheet. So a fact sheet for zombies and a fact sheet for vampires. And it gives you a description and some meal preferences, manner of dress, and that type of thing. That goes through and talks about some of the qualities that you might see if you're a zombie or a vampire. As far as the questions to start asking yourself, you might, if you're at work and something doesn't seem right to you and you you bring that to the forefront, and you talk to coworkers about it, and you say, this just doesn't make sense. The business that we're conducting, this just doesn't make sense. And your coworkers shut you down and say, "Okay, don't rock the boat.
Yeah.
Just keep your head down, and that way you don't get laid off." And that's a person that's waking up, that's starting to ask questions of themselves. A person who can look in the mirror and really examine who they are, and ask the question, who am I? And get past the meat suit, get past the color of the hair and the receding hairline and the crooked teeth or whatever. That's where the person is really starting to do an examination of themselves.
In today's job market, the employers feel that they have the right to take advantage and to abuse the employees because, hey, if you don't want the job, there's somebody right around the corner who will take it. How do we work this into the equation?
Well, and I think that goes back to the passion of what it is that you want to do. A lot of people that I've talked to are extremely successful, but they're afraid to take that next step because of the fear of the unknown. And so we do the same thing. Employees go and they compete with others for one job, and there are 50 candidates, and they get offered the job, and you look at the job description, and it says at the bottom, may require large amounts of travel, any duties not assigned, and it's just a blanket statement in the job descriptions. If you're not passionate about wanting to do that, and that isn't something that you're really excited about doing, then you should be asking yourself the question about why it is that you're pursuing that job. And most people's initial response is going to be, I've got to keep food on the table.
Exactly.
I've got to take care of my family, right? And that is true. There is an element of that, but the question that I come back to with a lot of folks is, but what's your passion? If this is something that you're going to do while you pursue your passion, what is your passion?
So are you saying that people should use the job that they're not happy with as a bridge until they get to that place where they are going to be happy and where they are actually working in something that they're passionate about?
I think that's a good point, and it's something. It's a chapter in the book that I titled "When in Rome." I mean, you have a system that's been put in front of you, and there is a part where you are going to start to awaken to what it is you're passionate about, and what it is you really want to do with your life, and what it is that gets you excited. And while you're pursuing that, you still have responsibilities to your family and everything else. So this is like technology, everything in moderation. I don't advocate a person going out and dropping everything that they're doing to pursue a passion, but there is a path that the person can get themselves on.
But I also think that there also has to be a realistic path that the person is on, because they may be passionate about something that is totally out of their job skill range.
Absolutely, and that is a true statement.
All right, you and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Todd, please stand by. Exonation, Todd Borandi is my special guest. His website is www.discoverabalance.com, and he's the author of Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires. Sounds like a girl I once went out with. We'll be back on the other side of this commercial break with the news as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Don't go away.
Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads at xzoneradiotv.com.
Little children aren't the only ones afraid of the dark. Millions of soldiers return from war zones with PTSD, anger, frustration, fear, and loneliness, much of which surfaces during the darkness of the night. You have the chance to change the lives of these American heroes. Songs and Stories for Soldiers.us provides free MP3 players for these men and women. With a list of 3 million songs in 16 different styles, 100,000 audiobooks, and 30,000 old-time radio programs, every veteran can find something to soothe and comfort them at no cost. All our players contain an 8-hour audio program designed to help veterans fall asleep. With 1,500 plus vets now participating, it's our goal to deliver 10,000 audio players this year. Go to our website at songsandstoriesforsoldiers.us. Help us help a veteran make it through the night.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
This is the X-Zone Radio and TV show on the X-Zone Broadcast Network and our worldwide broadcast affiliates. If you have a question for Rob McConnell or his guest, or if you have had a paranormal experience, call toll-free 1-800-610-7035, extension 0, or email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. And on our major social media sites, our address is X-Zone Radio TV.
They were pretty smart, but you've got being right down to an art. You think you're a genius, you drive me off the wall. You're regular, original, know it all. Oh, you think you're special. Oh, you think you're something else. Okay, so you're a rocket scientist. That don't impress me much. So you got the brains, but have you got the touch? Now don't get me wrong, yeah, I think you're alright, but that won't keep me warm in the middle of the night. That don't impress me much. Yeah. I never knew a guy who carried a mirror in his pocket and a comb.
Welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone, and I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide toll-free, 1-800-610-7035. Email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, Skype, Twitter, MySpace, Facebook, you name it, one address, X-Zone Radio TV. And our website is www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Todd Borandi. His website is www.discoverabalance.com. And we're talking about his fascinating book. And I'm telling you, it's a different way of looking at things. It makes you think and probably say, oh my God, that is so true. The name of his book is Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires. It's available at Amazon.com. and Barnes & Noble. And, you and I were talking off air, and you bring up a lot of valid points, and we were talking about the educational system, about preparing kids for the world, and it seems that, this is just my opinion, Todd, that they're missing the big picture when it comes to getting a child through elementary school into high school. You go to grade 12. You think on the way you want to be a doctor. Well, maybe you want to be a dentist. Maybe you want to be a computer guru. Maybe. Then you get to the end of grade 12 and it's like, what do I do now? How can we better prepare the children for the future so that they can build a stronger world?
Well, and I think that's a great point. That transition point, there are critical transition points for kids because they go through an elementary, a middle school, and a high school, and each one of those transition points has the opportunity to create a great perspective, and that's something else that I mentioned in the book, is that it doesn't matter how close you are to somebody else. They could be raised in the same house with you, but a single experience changes your entire perspective. And when a child goes through school, if they're getting the support for the things that they're passionate about, that excites them. They want to do more of it. They want to be involved with it and not let that go. If a child is told that they have to take this, the reading, writing, and arithmetic, you have to take this class because it's required. Well, why is it required? Well, because the state requires it. Well, why does the state require it? Well, because you can't go to college unless you have it. Okay, well, if I take it and I go to college, then what?
Exactly.
Right? It's going through that process.
And of course, in today's economy, when you're talking about going to college, my Lord, you're talking about a hefty chunk of money.
Sure. But the other side of that sales pitch is, if you want to have a good living, you have to go to college.
You see, you used a wonderful word there that would have never crossed my mind. Sales pitch.
Yes, it is in a lot of ways. You have to, when you create that disconnect and you start asking yourself these types of questions, you start to look at things differently, and your perspective changes on what it is that the information that you're being fed, and the way you choose to react to it.
Here in Hamilton, we have McMaster University, we have Mohawk College, and I have a granddaughter who graduated with a degree on the Dean's Honor Roll. And in order for her to get into the field that she wants, no, she's graduated from university. She has to go to college now and take college courses.
Right.
And then, even then, there's no guarantees. And here you've got a young lady who has studied very hard to get where she is today. And yet there's no guarantees. She spent 6 years at Mac. She's going to spend another 2 years. I believe it's 2 years. Even 1 year. 7 years to get where she wants to be, to follow her passion. And when she gets to the end of the road, at the Yellow Brick Road to the Emerald City, the gates may not be opened. How does this affect a child or anybody?
Well, and I think that is the point where people either start asking themselves serious questions about the passion that they have, because I don't think that even if the gates are closed, if somebody's truly passionate about doing something, they're going to find a path. They're going to find a way to make that work for them. We had talked off air, and you had said that you have been doing this for 22 years.
Yes.
And so I'm sure that path was very easy for you, right?
Oh.
You never had any potholes or stumbling blocks ever.
You
right?
kidding? I learned how to resurface highways, build overpasses, and you name it. No, it hasn't been easy at all.
Right, but it's your passion.
That's right.
It's what you enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And so people, when they slip into being a zombie, they go and they settle. They settle for the job. They settle for the paycheck. They settle for the money. And if the gate appears to be closed and you go, well, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do this, but I still have a car payment. I still have bills to meet. I still need to be able to pay for my cable.
Yeah.
That's where people start to slide backwards, or they start asking themselves serious questions about why it is that they're passionate about what it is they want to do, and what other roads or to use your analogy, how to build a highway up and over the gate, right?
Or through the mountain. If you can't get around it, go right through it.
That's right.
But how do we... You and I are from different schools. We didn't have the amount of social stress that the younger generation and people who are looking at following their passion had. How do we get them to keep the passion, keep the fire burning in order for them to build that highway or build that tunnel in order to get to their goal?
The interesting thing I think about teens and kids is they always gauge based off the responses that they get from the people they ask questions of. Mm-hmm. So they're going to come to their parents and their grandparents, and they're going to. It may not be a direct question, but that's when they're giving them the opportunity to give them some feedback that they can use and carry with them. I really enjoy doing this, or I wish I had a camera so that I could go and take some photos like my friend. These are clues for us to pick up on that there is a desire there is a passion there, and if we help reinforce at that point, and we're not so wrapped up in our own lives at that time, then we have the ability. The kids will come back time and time again to feed off of, literally feed off of their parents. I mean, you think about the energy exchange that happens between the parents and the child. When a child is really young, it's fun to watch because the child will go and they look like the Roadrunner, and they're just running around, and then they jump up in their parent's lap for a few minutes, and they calm down long enough to pull energy from their parents, and then they're off and running again. Mm-hmm. Of course, the parent looks like they're about to die because they've just been drained of their energy. And you hear people say it all the time. I didn't do anything today but watch the kids, and I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Energy vampires.
Energy vampires.
It's funny you mentioned about the children, because when a child is using their imagination and playing out different roles, if they play cowboys and Indians, cops and robbers, firemen, whatever, I think that these are keys that parents need to pay attention to, because this is what the child is saying that they'd like to pursue. And I don't think that very many parents in today's society, because of the social responsibilities that they find themselves in, actually have the time to notice what their child is aspiring to be or wants to pursue.
Right, and that's usually a don't be silly or put that away.
Exactly.
Or don't waste your time with that. So yes, I agree, and I think that's really hard for the child, because again the children are taking their cues from the parents. So if the parents, all they do when they get home from work is sit in front of their TV, then here's a great example. You think about your day. Do you get up in the morning and you get a shower and you go down and you turn the TV on, you grab something, and then you go to work, and then you come home from work, and then you sit and you watch the evening news, and then you get on your computer, and then you go to bed, and then you get up and you do it all the next day.
Yeah.
What kind of message is that giving to your child?
Well, it's not giving a very good message. I can't say anything else except it's not giving a very good message, because you're not spending enough time with the family. And that's another thing that we see in today's families, is that there is not the structure within the family where you have mom and dad and the family sitting down having breakfast, and then mom or dad goes to work, and then when they come back, what used to be traditionally a family supper, in many houses you don't have that anymore. And I think that this is a major part of the social breakup that we're seeing. And there's no more communication between the family unit unless it's texting to one another, which I think is so ridiculous.
Right. That's an amazing thing to see, for sure. But take it a step further and look at yourself as an individual and how much time. Here's another question for you.
Okay.
How much time do you really give to yourself, where you are not being distracted by music or news reports or anything else? How much time do you give yourself in a single day where you don't have some type of distraction interrupting your thought process and the questions that your mind have for you?
You see, for me, that's very easy. The answer is, how long did I sleep? Right.
And that is the point where I started to ask that question. And so one of the first steps for me was I'd get up in the morning and I'd do the same thing as everybody else, but I'd get up in the morning and I'd turn on the news and I'd watch the news in the evening. And so I stopped watching the news in the morning. I would not turn the TV on in the morning. And the first time I tried that, it lasted 2 minutes. I had to turn it on.
Yeah.
And the excuse I gave myself was, I just need the noise. And the noise is a distraction. It keeps you from listening to your own mind.
I agree with you 100%. Plus, the way that I look at it, when you watch the news first thing in the morning, and being a member of the media, I know for a fact that if it don't bleed, it don't lead. You're going to get negativity hitting you first thing in the morning.
Absolutely.
So what I do now, when I get up and have my coffee, I turn on the comedy channel and start my day with a laugh.
That's excellent. Right.
You and I have to take our final break, Todd. Please stand by. Exonation, Todd Borandi is our special guest. I'll bet you a lot of you are asking yourselves right now if you're a zombie or a vampire. Well, there's a very simple way to find out, and to find out how you can shut it off and how you can turn your life around and how you can follow that passion. Simply by going to www.discoverabalance.com or going to Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble and buying a copy of Todd's book entitled Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires. Once again, Todd Borandi is our guest, and Todd and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we conclude this hour here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Oh, hey, listen, don't forget, October 15th, the Halloween edition of the X Chronicles will be available worldwide. We'll be back, don't go away.
Born a Shiite Muslim and taught the Quran in his youth are some of the reasons why President Obama has an affinity for Islam and the Muslim people. His nuclear deal with Iran allows them to obtain over $150 billion to stimulate their country domestically and militarily while pursuing their objective to develop a nuclear bomb. A groundbreaking article by Nicholas Jennings titled "Obama Continues to Lie to the American People" exposes many lies Obama has made. It includes lies to the American people on the Obama-Iran nuclear deal and Benghazi. The Jennings article is provided on the internet link www.rel-mar.com/NG2. That's www.rel-mar.com/NG2.
When demystified, shamanism is an ancient science delving into the quantum level of life. Understanding and implementing basic shamanic principles can empower the individual to heal, manifest, and evolve in these rapidly changing times. Path Home Shamanic Art School is a one-of-a-kind Colorado State certified occupational school training and certifying shamanic practitioners and teachers. We also train individuals simply interested in empowering and enriching their lives through shamanism. Path Home's certification classes are in a week-long block format, enabling national and international students to participate. We also provide online classes and long-distance shamanic healing sessions as well. Discover all you can be. Enter the limitless world of shamanism today. For more information, visit findyourpathhome.com or call 303-775-3431.
Ever wondered if your advertising dollar is really working for you? If your ad would have been here, you and more than 4 million people would be listening to it right now. Contact ads@xzoneradiotv.com.
Exonation, we're talking about awakening among zombies and vampires this hour. Todd Borandi is my special guest. His website is www.discoverabalance.com. And his book, Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires, is available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. How do we get the people who are starting to pursue their dream, their passion, Todd? How do we get them to ward off the negativity that I'm sure they're bound to get in their pursuit? What do we do?
I think a big part of that is for them to. We had talked about it before. When you start asking the right questions and you start going down that path, your passion starts to grow. You start to get excited about what it is that you truly want to do, and your perspective on things.
But I'm sure there comes a time. Maybe I should have asked the question another way. How do we reinforce their belief, their passion, when they start doubting themselves? And this is going to happen.
It is, and unfortunately, I think a lot more people try to keep people in their box. Mm-hmm. So the reinforcement part of that is to let them know that it is okay, that they have this light in their eyes, that they have this excitement in their voice when they talk about these things, and they shouldn't just let it die. That they're if they're truly passionate about it, find a way to make it work. It is about asking yourself more questions and really trying to see how to build that highway that you had mentioned earlier.
And of course, there's going to be jealousy and between the person who is pursuing their dream, pursuing their passion, and those around him or her who would like to but just don't have the drive that this person does, and they will try to keep this person back.
Absolutely, and that's probably one of the most important things, is to realize that when you start asking the questions, those that are closest to you are probably going to be the ones that are wanting you to remain a part of the mob. They want you to stay in that place because they either need your strength to help support them, or they're feeding off of you. So they want you right where you are.
Todd, we've run out of time for tonight. I want to thank you so much for joining us again. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to the next time you and I meet back here in the X Zone to discuss awakening among zombies and vampires.
Rob, it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Sir, the pleasure was indeed all mine. Have a nice night, Todd. Take care of yourself. Exo Nation, Todd Borandi has been my guest this hour. www.discoverabalance.com. Awakening Among Zombies and Vampires is his book. It's available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. I'll be back on the other side of this news break at the top of the hour, so don't go away.